Most people spend months polishing their resume, hitting easy apply and networking, and they end up nowhere. There are thousands of career coaches, LinkedIn influencers, and recruiters posting resume tips online, but if any of it actually worked, the tech job market wouldn't feel as broken as it does right now. The reason it's not working isn't that the market is broken, but more so that the advice that you find online isn't built on data that anybody has tested. My name is Varun Kirti and I run Wolf Mentoring. My team has made over 50,000 job applications for tech leaders, and in the last year alone, we landed more than 2,500 senior leadership interviews, and we have placed over 100 plus tech leaders into director, VP, and C-level roles. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through what 50,000 applications have actually taught us, the parts of the standard playbook that you can ignore, and the things that consistently turn an application into an interview. So let's crack right into it. Lesson number 1, speed is the whole game. Back in September of 2025, our delivery cycle was slow. Same done-for-you service we run right now, but the loop from finding a relevant job to applying to it, to finding the right hiring manager for the job, drafting an outreach, and sending it, all of it took anywhere between 3 to 8 days, and sometimes even longer if we were waiting on our client to approve a role. For a client pool of about 50 to 60 people, we were landing about 130 interviews a month. Then I set a new internal SLA. It's called same-day delivery. Within 24 hours of a job being posted, we have to find it, apply to it, find the exact hiring manager for it, draft an outreach, and send it. Nothing changed about the quality of the application or the outreach. The only thing that changed was the speed. Interviews went from 130 a month to close to about 380 right now. The same client pool, same application, same outreach, same people writing them, only variable was time. And the reason for it is simple. When a role is posted, the recruiter and the hiring panel are at their peak hunger, right? They're scanning for strong signals and an easy win. Their mental model of who's out there is a blank slate at this moment. So when a real fit lands in front of them in the first 24 hours, you're not out competing against a list. You are the very first signal that they see. Now, a week in, they've seen enough resumes to be fatigued, the bar goes mentally up, and the same exact application gets a very different response, or worse, no response at all. So most tech leaders treat applying to roles as something that you do on a Saturday evening with a glass of wine and a coffee. By the time you get to the role, half of the relevant candidates have already moved through the funnel. You haven't been beaten on the credentials, you have been beaten on the calendar. Lesson number 2, the resume industry is selling you something that does not work. There's an entire industry built around keyword optimized resume. The pitch is that if you stuff the right keywords from the job description into the right sections, then you beat the so-called ATS. Career coaches sell it, resume writers sell it, software products sell it. It is an entire category. We ran a clean test on it. 100 applications to standard resume that was simply optimized for one niche that the candidate fits in versus 100 applications through a keyword optimized resume tailored to individual role. Same candidate, same niche, 2 different resume styles. The keyword optimized resume converted at 30% of the rate of the niche optimized one. So if a niche resume was landing 10 interviews per 100 applications, the keyword version was only landing 3. The reason is that the keyword optimized process rearranges your experience around the words that the algorithm is looking for, which breaks the narrative coherence a hiring manager actually reads for. You end up with a resume that technically contains every term in the job description and still reads like nothing to the human on the other end recognizes as a real career. The ATS maybe lets it through, the hiring manager opens it, can't follow the story, and moves on. The fix isn't to tailor harder, the fix is to stop tailoring for every single role and start positioning more sharply for one niche. So the same clean resume converts everywhere inside that niche. Lesson number 3, the hidden job market is a myth that career coaches need you to believe. You've probably heard that stat. 70% of the jobs are hidden. It sounds mysterious, it sounds like insider knowledge and the marketing engine of basically every career coach on LinkedIn. The pitch is that you need them to access the roles that you cannot see, and it's nonsense. Out of the 2,500 senior leadership interviews that we landed last year, every single one of them came from a publicly available job source. LinkedIn, Indeed, company pages. The 70% number is built on nothing that you can actually point to. The reason most companies post roles publicly is obvious when you think about it. They want to hire the best person they can find. find keeping a role a secret runs directly against that goal. The role that genuinely are hidden, and there are some in the rare cases, right? For example, where a company is a public company who is replacing somebody confidentially like their own CISO. So where there are 2 or 3 people under an NDA that are not required to disclose anywhere, and they are running the exact search for a very specific profile. And if that is you, then they will find you, and they'll find you through your LinkedIn, not through a coach with a secret list. So if you have been paying somebody for an access to a hidden job market, then you're wasting your money and your time. Spend that time and energy on positioning your discoverability and public job boards. That's where real interviews are. Lesson number 4, the move that turns cold applications into interviews. Now, most tech job seekers do this. They find a role, they hit apply, and then they wait. After 200 applications, they get 1 to 2 interviews. They conclude that the market is broken. Their conversion rate is roughly around 1%. Our conversion rate, when we pair an application with a tailored outreach to the actual hiring manager, yields 10%. That's 10 times the response rate for the same role, the same candidate, the same resume. The difference is 1 email. We have dozens of examples where hiring managers replied saying like, hey, if the candidate hadn't reached out by email, then they would have missed the application entirely. We've got examples where candidate had already been rejected from cold application. The hiring manager opened the outreach anyway, and that rejection turned into an interview. It works because you're applying to the portal puts you in a queue. A direct, well-written message to the hiring manager puts you in front of the person who actually decides, and nobody does it because it requires identifying the right person, writing something that does not read like a templated cold pitch, and then accepting that some won't reply. The barrier is exactly what keeps it underrated. Lesson number 5, if you're not landing interviews, it's one of the 2 problems. When somebody comes to us after 6 months of their job search, making countless applications but nothing to show for, there's a diagnosis I run before we even touch the resume. Either it's a product problem or a marketing problem, and almost never that it's a market problem. Product problem means that you're not actually qualified for the roles that you're aspiring for. The level that you're applying for has a real bar, and the experience that you have does not yet clear it. That's a hard one to hear, but it's fixable. You either step the role definition down, you change the experience you're going after, or you go build the missing piece on purpose. Marketing is a more common one. You're qualified, but you're positioning yourself in a way the hiring manager can't see clearly. Most tech leaders describe themselves too broadly, right? Somebody calls them a data leader. Data leader could mean 10 different jobs. If you market yourself as a director of data engineering for mid-size scaling ad tech platform, then there are maybe 5 or 6 people on LinkedIn who would actually match. So if you market yourself as a data leader, there are thousands of them. Take Brandon, for example. He came to us laid off, running out of runway, and he wasn't landing a single relevant interview. We looked at his resume, and he was positioned as a generic product leader. His actual experience was much sharper than that. He had done the same specific thing at Meta as a manager of managers, and at Wiser Solutions as a senior product leader. He thrived in a fragmented, multi-product portfolios, taking disconnected products and unified them into a single platform product end-to-end at a web scale. Now that is specific. So we repositioned him exactly as that, a platform product specialist for multi-product portfolio unifications. And within 4 months, he was interviewing at 21 different companies at the same time and accepted an offer for base pay of $285K US. Nothing about Brandon changed. What changed was the hiring managers could finally place him into a specific shape. Hey, quick one before we move on. After watching all of this, you'd rather just have my team run the whole thing for you. The applications, the hiring manager outreach, the interview prep, all the way to a place offer with a guarantee. Then the link is in the description to book a call. This is exactly what Wolf Mentoring does day in, day out for tech leaders. So go for it. Lesson number 6, land 1 interview and you're hoping, land 6 and you're negotiating. Most tech leaders we talk to are trying to land an interview. The mindset is singular. Get 1 good shot, do really well, get the offer. And the problem is, what happens when that 1 interview goes to the final round and then you don't get it? You start from zero, 2 months of preparation, mock interviews, follow-ups, all of it resets. And there's no other process running in parallel to soften the loss. So the next round of applications goes out from a worse place mentally than the first. That's where most senior searchers die. Not at the rejection, but at the spiral afterwards. The actual game isn't landing an interview or 2. It's running a pipeline of them, multiple processes all at the same time at the level that you actually want. So this client Raj Bawa came to us after walking out of a job at a company that was in a turmoil. He didn't want to land any role. He wanted to land the right role. Now on his own, he wasn't getting interviews at senior director or director level. He was getting nibbles for individual contributor roles, roles for which he wasn't really interested in, right? Or worse, he was getting these contracting gigs. We worked with him for 5 months, got him 6 offers at senior director and VP level, and he chose to go with a tech company called Checkmate. 6 offers does 2 things for you. It softens any single rejection inside the pipeline because there's always another conversation that is moving along, and it changes the negotiation. The single greatest piece of leverage you have in any deal is your ability to walk out of it. When you have 5 other offers behind the one that you're talking to, you can ask for the comp, the level, the scope, the equity, the start date you actually want instead of taking what they hand out to you. In an employer-dominated market, that's the real leverage that pays for itself. Lesson number 7, and this is the lesson that changed how we run every single client's job search. This is the one I'd put on a wall of the office, and this is the lesson that's changed the entire shape of Wolf Mentoring. As the name suggests, we were a mentoring company. Before we ran Done For You job search service, we ran a career coaching business. We taught people exactly what we do now for them, and the frameworks were same, the advice was the same, the strategies were the same, and it didn't work for most people that we coached. For a long time, I thought the strategies weren't strong enough, so we kept refining them. We tested, iterated, sharpened. The strategies were fine. The execution was the gap. The clearest case is Toshin. After her stint at Amazon ended, she landed her next product role on her own, but it didn't have the comp or the scope that she was looking for. She came to us in August of 2024 on what we call Implement It Yourself program at that time. We did the strategic work. We found the relevant roles, identified the hiring managers, drafted the outreach. Her job was to actually apply and send those messages on time. In 6 months, that effort had landed her 4 interviews. Only 4. Her experience was strong, her delivery was tight, and we couldn't find anything to improve on our side. She got disappointed, we got disappointed, she went quiet. A year later, she came back to us and asked her to redo her resume. She thought that was the problem. It wasn't. We moved her to our Done For You program. Now this time it was the same strategy, same hiring manager target, same outreach style. The only thing that changed was that our team now made the applications and our team sent messages instead of her. In the next 2 months, she landed 9 interviews. 9 in 2 months after landing 4 interviews in 6 months, right? We placed her as a director of product management at GitHub for a base pay of $300K. We changed literally nothing about the strategy. We only changed who did the work. That discovery made me furious and relieved at the same time. Furious because we had spent years assuming clients were executing what we gave them. They weren't. They were applying late. They were skipping outreaches. They were getting distracted. They were getting busy, getting discouraged, doing the 40% of the playbook and concluding that the playbook was the problem. Relieved because it was something that I could actually fix. Now that's the reason why Wolf Mentoring is now Done For You only. And also the reason why we are able to offer guarantees, because once execution is no longer a variable, the rest of the playbook actually does what it's supposed to do. Most people who aren't landing interviews don't have a knowledge problem. They have an execution problem. And until you solve that, you can read every single job search article on the internet and it won't change a thing for you. Now, applying is only one side of the playbook. The other side is what happens when recruiter come to you instead. So click this video here because I will walk you through the exact LinkedIn and outbound system I use to flip the script and get recruiters filling your inbox instead you chasing them, and I'll see you there.